Welcome everybody to a happy hour hangout here at the Director's Garage. I am your host and resident idiot, Michael. Welcome to a Wednesday. Cheers everybody. It is happy hour, so we're at least ahead of the game on that one. How are you all? What's all going on in your worlds? I'm going to apologize and put these away for a second. Yes, it's still the atrium, guys. I listen to the atrium quite a bit. I want to let you guys know that this stream could end at any time. The Director's Garage car, the automobile that goes in the Director's Garage, is at the shop right now. So, not really sure when it's going to get done. Mechanic could text, and then I got to kind of end the stream and go down and pick up my car, because we need wheels. And I'm going on vacation on a driving trip in the next week. So we're going to take off on Saturday. I'll be back sometime next week, and we'll figure it out from there. So having new brakes on the car seemed like a good idea, because the car's got about 44,000 miles, and we live in the hills. The brakes get used up quite a bit. So, new brakes for the trip, and I'm even having them enhanced. He found some performance rotors and pads for me for the old family truckster, and so it's going to have some extra stopping power, which I'm really looking forward to. Because right now, if you want to stop that car, you got to think ahead. So it's kind of fun, and it'll be nice to have a car with brakes again. So that's coming up. Oh, I got to turn some lights on. Let's get some lights going. Hey, there's a light. Another one. Just forget to turn the lights on. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is the episode, which is on this monitor right here. I'm going to close it in a second, but we're working on the next episode, which is going to be a shootout episode between the two planar magnetics that I happen to really. We can go to the overhead here, right? Because I got a light there too. Let's do that. Let's show them off in all their glory, by God. Here we go. We got the 7 hertz. Why, like, find focus, dude. Can you do that? Do you think you can muster some focus? Is that too close? Can't be too close. That is awful. What is going on with this camera? Really? That's your focus. That's what you're going to tell me is focus. Hang on while I do a little adjustment here. Let's find out what's going on. We got manual autofocus. Well, look at that. No focus for you, huh? Autofocus. Let's try it again. See what happens. All right, so... Nope. I have a camera that just doesn't give a damn about focus right now. That's tragic, folks. That's tragic. At any rate, so it's the shootout between these two. I'll just lower it to its own focal plane, by God. There's more than one way to do this. And that's the 7 hertz timeless and the Muse Hi-Fi Power. And they're both planar magnetics, and I showed those off on the show. The Muse Hi-Fi unboxed about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it's going to be like comparing those two. And it's really been a lot of fun to research that, because... they're good headphones. They're really good headphones, and I've said this. I said this back when I did the timeless. You got to go to $1,000 before you get to something that's gonna compete with these things. At least if you amp them well. If you have a crappy amplifier or you just run it out of your iPhone, don't bother. It's not going to give you what these things can deliver. But with an amplification, with good amplification like that WA11 Topaz, these things are just, they light up like the sun. I mean, they're just amazing. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see. Well, I know the results now. Will be in the episode. Which of these two comes out on top? They are both excellent, and they both have specialties that they do better than the other. So that was a really good shootout. That's coming I'm hoping to have that out by the end of the week. I am way behind. The problem is this. I got to work for a living. You know? And work gets in the way of fun time, which is making episodes and shooting stuff for you guys, because, you know, I got to pay the bills and be able to afford doing this show, which is operating at a massive loss, as you would know from the last episode, the Atrium. But so I needed to had a lot of work going on. I had the BET Awards on Sunday. I was there all day, and in LA it was 100 degrees, like in the air, just normal temperature. And then because they put carpet over pavement, the heat just sucks into the carpet and it radiates, and it was about 125 degrees on the carpet, and we're out there for 5 hours interviewing people, and then we go backstage to where it's ice cold, and then you're not feeling well because you've been out baking, and now you're in this absolutely freezing environment, and you're running all over backstage to try and get people, and, you know, trying to chase down who was there, Kanye West, and P. Diddy was there, and just great. I mean, big names. Mariah Carey was there, and we spoke to Brandy, and, you know, I mean, it's a big, huge award show. It's just my least favorite to do because of the circumstances. It's always hot as hell. That award show and the ESPYs are my two least favorite to cover because of the heat. It's just ungodly hot, and you're working all day, and then when you get done with the red carpet, you're not done. You have to go backstage and interview everybody as they get their award. So it's a big, long day of shooting, and it just wipes me out. And you know, you finish at about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and then, you know, right away you're back at work at, you know, before dawn. You're at work writing, so not a lot of time to recuperate, not a lot of time to edit the episode. I didn't even shoot it until Monday, and it's about halfway through it right now, but I've got to put all the coverage in it, and I've got a big, huge feature about Simon and Garfunkel in that episode, and that's going to take some hunting down footage. It's just going to take me a little bit to get that episode finished. So that's what's been going on in my world, and I just thought I'd share it with you guys. So we've got a show that may end at any minute because we get new brakes on the Audi, and then we're gonna possibly, and then that's basically it. And then we'll have an episode sometime later this week. But cheers, it's Wednesday. We're halfway through this sucker. I'm actually a little bit further because I did start on Sunday this week. So we're a little, oh, that's great nectar. So that's what's going on. And then I want to also tell you that the episode after this one will be the announcement of the giveaway. I don't want to let that get too far away from me. I know it's just been hard for me to get it together and shoot the video and all that, but I want to do the giveaway next because I'm getting I'm already 50 subscribers off of 4,000, and this is to celebrate the 4,000th subscriber on the Director's Garage. So I do want to get that out there and pay it forward, and I know everybody's excited about the giveaway, so you know, let's make sure that we do that in a timely fashion, as they say. So and that giveaway is going to have among them, the big item is this item, and I showed it before. It's the Thieaudio Jimmy, which is a fantastic looking, and it's right it's kind of in a pile of goo right here. There it is. Let's go back live to the overhead because we can, not because we should. There's our thing, and that's these guys, and they're just beautiful, and beautiful in every conceivable way. They really just Jerry Harvey knocked it out of the park with these. They sound good, and then they're also adjustable. They come with this treble and bass knobby, you know, like a little pot thing that you can adjust up your bass and your treble to your liking. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, and it's free. Giving away for free. All you got to do is put your name on the thing below the video when I get to it. So that's coming up. I got a lot of good stuff happening, and it's just a way to say thank you to those of you who have subscribed and have been around here for a bit. And I do these giveaways every now and then and just kind of unload stuff that I'm either not using or stuff. And there are other ways we could go about it. I just... the spirit of me is to pay it forward, and you guys have been great to me, so I want to be great to you guys back, and I kind of like the whole thing. So there you go. Let's start digging into a little bit of the chat, because I don't have like a lot of stuff to talk about this week. There's not like a new product or new something or other. We kind of did the Atrium in the last one, so I kind of shot that out of the cannon, so I'm kind of running a little low on ammunition right now. Let's see. Al Jenkins, cheers all to you guys. Victor Ennis, cheers pal. Atriums look great. Yeah, they really do. And I know they did the other style with the silver and that, but that aged product is just spectacular. Very much nice. Emil Jenkins, super nice cord. And is that the Atrium? Is that the 7 Hertz Timeless? 7 Hertz Timeless I'm only running the stock cable on that. I just bought another cable though, because I don't have a nice version of an MMCX connector cable. So what I did was I ordered another one of these from Linsol. And this is the Nymph cable. It's silver, and it's like an eight-way weave down to and you know I think cables are bullshit, but yeah, this is an 8-way weave cable, and this one terminates Pentagon, but this is the 2-pin. So I was kind of like frustrated with I just wanted to have a nicer cable on it. Like I said, sound-wise, I think we're just kind of kidding ourselves if we think these cables are going to make a massive difference in sound. But they look great and they're fun, and this is only $100. And when you look at what other 8-by weaves are going for, that's a pretty good deal. So I like the Nymph cable from Linsol, and so I picked up one with an MMCX connector instead of the 2-pin. So that's what's going on there. Doris is away, just arrived. Is it all over? No, it's just beginning, by God. Everybody get out your drinks. It's happy hour. We're great to be here. We're happy to be here. It's hot as hell in LA. It's another 100-degree day. Where are we at? We're at 94 currently, but it'll get up there by the end of the day. Really imposing time of year. Good afternoon, Michael and all from Audio Full. Good to see you guys. Doris is away. Who's the friendliest, most accommodating celeb to interview? There's a lot of them. There's a lot of really great celebs. Tom Hanks. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise will just never... Tom Cruise is a movie star, and he's a movie star that hasn't forgotten he's a movie star, and he will make sure that he answers every question you have to ask. Is he like super accessible? No, but I can't say anything bad about the guy, because he always makes sure that you get your one-on-one time with him, and he doesn't sell anybody short. And that's all I can ask for as somebody who interviews for a living, is you hate the people that favor one outlet over another, and you wind up walking away with like 2 questions and he gives the other guys 20 minutes. It's like, that's frustrating. So you get that too. Nephilim81. Hi everyone. Happy Wednesday. Tomorrow is his Friday, because July 1st is Canada Day, and then July 4th is USA Day. It's happy 4th of July, Independence Day. in the States. I'm not going to be home for that. We're like I said, we're going to be taking a trip. I'm going to be getting out of town a little bit. The first time I've been out of town in a while just for fun. I travel all the time for work, but it's not the same thing. You're like chasing your ass trying to get your work done when you're out of town. Mr. Number One here, have you heard of the Moon River 2? It's a dongle DAC from Moondrop. No, I haven't. I haven't been... I'm not up on the latest of Chi-Fi stuff, and I think it's great stuff, and, Moondrop does cost-effective stuff that sounds really good, so I wouldn't disparage it, I just haven't heard it. Sean Mills, he works for a company in Canada, so presently he gets both days off. Look at you. Look at you. All right, everybody over to Sean's house. He's throwing the party next week. Sean, drop your address in the chat. We'll be over any moment. Okay, Michael, how are the atriums burning in? I haven't noticed. I've been listening to them a lot. I haven't noticed major changes or anything. I think that burn in is something that is a little bit on the overstated side. I think that there's stuff that can loosen up and maybe give you a little more oomph here or there, but I've never had a headphone fundamentally change its sound because of burn-in. I've had headphones change their sound because of amplification. I've never had a headphone change its sound because of wiring. And I know these are all, takes that other people have a differing opinion on, and they can hear a big change. I can tell you that if you gave me a blind taste test of the headphone when it first arrives, and then you pull another one out that's been here for, say, 3 weeks and have been playing a lot and has been blessed with pink noise from Albert Einstein's grave. I don't know. It's I don't hear a big difference. I think that you're talking about little enhancements. So I haven't noticed anything in particular. I am enjoying them. I think they're great. And Nephilim, I tubed the hell out of you last week. You got your tubes. So they're great. The atriums have been very impressive. I found things that work real well with them. There will be an upcoming episode where I share what it is about the amplification that works and what doesn't work, and my theory behind why some things work better than others, and blah 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 blah. That'll be in an upcoming episode, couple down the road. I don't like to stack the same product on top of, put those episodes back to back. I think that it bores you guys. I think you like having that kind of change up, and we're going to look at something different. We're going back to IEMs for the next episode. Haven't done a lot of IEM shows lately, mostly because they don't do as well, but I think something like this, where you've got two of the best planers out there in an IEM form, and they're both just $200. This is a death match for me. This is one of these two is going to be the one that is the cost for performance head IEM to buy, provided you have the power to push a planar magnetic IEM adequately. So I'm very, very excited about that. Sean Mills, your company's better than mine. That's an inside comment. I'm ditching it. That's what I'm doing. Atrium got a glowing review from DMS. The DMS, everybody has their own takes on it. And I appreciate that even if people didn't like them, it's fine with me. All I can do is listen to them, point out the things that impress me, and explain why I like them. And I also try to explain what somebody might not like about them. The sub bass doesn't push on those headphones, and there are things I found that can help the sub bass, but there's nothing that's going to fix the fundamental tuning of the headphone. You can try EQ and things like that. There's all sorts of ways to do things, but if you absolutely have got to have that sub bass, the Atrium is a little short there. So, but that's, to me, that's only part of the story. You know, the other part of the story is, you know, it's just a rich headphone. It sounds just awesome. It's a great headphone to wear. They feel great on your head. You feel like you're wearing a quality product, and that's part of a great headphone too. There's a lot of elements, and I wouldn't weight one over the other. I think it's just comes down to what you like and what you want to hear. Victor Ennis is getting an additional cable for the atriums for length. Am I using the stock cord? No. And the reason is I've got a ton of these mini XLR cables here. Oh, right now, this is the stock cord. This is the stock 1/4 inch that's on these guys. This is the stock. It's like a cloth. I can do this because, you know, I should be. Huh. This is the stock cable. It's like, you can see this, can't you? Jesus. God help us all. You know, I mean, it's like a cloth wrapped 2-way wire down to single strand with a nice metal, a satisfying metal joint. So it's not like it's, and there's a little ZMF on there, but it's not like it's like the end all be all cable. It's a good cable, and it's all it's got to do is make a good connection, and you're in business. I just happen to have, I'm going to stay on the overhead for a second. I also happen to have this cable, which is the Kimber Axios Hybrid. And if you go on their website and look up Kimber Axios Hybrid, you will hyperventilate at the cost of this thing. And the only thing I would say is that I didn't buy this new. I bought it used off somebody. So I got, I would just say around half off of this. But it is, I mean, this is a dynamite cable, and it's like a 16 braid down to an 8 braid. It's pretty serious. It's a pretty major cable there, and so I use that a lot because it's got a 4-pin on it, and my amps have 4 pins, and it's always hooked up, so I can switch between. I mean, the same cable applies to the ZMFs. It applies to the Audezes, all the Audeze products. They all take the exact same connector. So, and also the Mezes. So you have 3 different types of headphone that can use the same cable. So I just swatch between them, and you wind up leaving the stock cable stays home. It doesn't come out and play. Cheers, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday and a Humpday happy hour hangout at the Director's Garage. I'm so glad to be here. Got a lot of people in right now. Good welcome, everybody. I'm glad to see you guys coming in. Hope you're enjoying the live stream. It's all here for you guys. It's all your show. Mr. Portney. Finally got to hear the Noble Audio IEMs at CanJam. They sound great. And I want to hear, there's a couple of them I want to hear myself. I'm really dying to hear. There's 4 new ones, and I have not heard any of them. And the Jade is among them, and there's a single dynamic driver that I really want to hear. I think that sounds exciting, and it's only a couple $100. And then they have a new kind of Sultan rival up there in the $2,500 range, and that one I'd really like to hear too. John, call me. John Moulton from Noble, a friend of mine. Audiofool says, "Hey Michael, what color Folkvanger did you order?" Folkvanger? What is a Folkvanger? You're really confusing me. Folkvanger. Okay. It is a thing. Change it back. Why does Yahoo always steal my thing? I don't know what it is. I don't know what a Folkvanger is. Well, somebody enlighten me in the chat. Hamster doesn't always go around the wheel so fast here, and in Studio City, California. Okay, Victor Ennis. Tom Cruise is a genuinely good guy. He's worked with him on several films. Yeah, he is. He is. He's very. The thing of it is he's very, very serious about his work, and he's very, very serious about making movies. And he demands, in my experience with him, he demands that everybody do their job and do their job well. Not everybody gets to work in the entertainment business for a living. I've been on his sets as he shot stuff and been able to shoot the BTS. It's always a fun time to see them making the movie and being a part of that behind the scenes process, seeing how it gets made. I did a lot of stuff for the Avengers too, and I've been behind the scenes on almost every Transformers movie with Michael Bay. See Michael Bay work, that's intimidating. That dude's, he's intense. Great director, great directors all, and he's somebody who demands that you are professional, and that's that. And it's like he takes himself seriously. He comes prepared, comes over prepared, and it's great. So nothing bad to say about any of them. There's and I don't like to disparage people. Like, I just rather move on with my life and not dwell on people that are less than easy to deal with. Why give them the exposure of the light today? Victor Ennis, he really is a smart, bright guy who cares as much about films as you do. Yep, absolutely. I totally agree. Mr. Portney says Jenkins, he listened to the top of the line ones, and very live control with a sweet warmth. It sounds good. Everyone likes Tom Hanks. Yeah. Who doesn't like Tom Hanks? Another one of the guys that he comes in and he shakes the cameraman's hands. I'm not kidding. Like, he goes up to the cameraman, goes up to the audio guy who's sitting in the corner with his headphones on, listening to the sound, the microphones and all that, and mixing the interview, and he makes sure he says hello to him. Those kind of guys are, they're rare. They're a rare breed. And it's great to see, especially for somebody who's that successful, who could just come in and sit down and answer the questions and move on with his life. So, really cool. Really enjoy, and I recognize fully that my job is a privilege, and not everybody would get to do it, and the job has afforded me some crazy great opportunities, in my life that a lot of people wouldn't have been able to do. Like, I got to go trek with gorillas and do some really crazy fun stuff in my life, and it's been a blessing. It's just that's just how it unfolded, and we were just talking about this the other day at work. Not to get off on a work tangent, but why not? Talk about everything on this show. It's not all headphones. I still, to this day, I don't feel like I go to work every day. Even on my worst day, even on the worst day of my life, when stuff's really happening and nothing's coming together, and I've got personnel out, and I've got personnel complaining, and the weather's misery, and it's still not a job. It's still something I would do for free. I'm seriously. So that's really the bottom line. Just checking to make sure my car's not ready, because it's not coming up. I do want to make sure that that's okay. Reaching out the phone, nearly impossible. Okay, this is over painting. We're trying to get Director's Garage not only is getting new brakes on its car, but there's also a garage door on the Director's Garage finally getting installed tomorrow, and I've got to arrange to have it painted within 72 hours or the warranty's no good. So that's the other thing that's going on. I got a lot of stuff happening, folks. It's not easy living in this head. Daniel Foster says there is more compression using woven cables versus side-by-side strands. That's mostly noticeable with tube amps. I'll take your word for it. I respect everybody's opinion on it. I told you, I relayed you guys the story of the guy who from the tape deck, who redid my tape deck, back when Monster cables came out, Monster had their big fancy cable they were charging $150 for or something, and they asked them if they could put one of their cables up against it, and the guy came, and the guy said, sure, absolutely, well, our cable will stand with anybody's. The guy came with a coat hanger, took apart 2 coat hangers, hooked them on the binding posts, and the crowd in a blind taste test swore that there was better bass on the coat hanger. So I'm like, I don't know. I think that it's nice to have cool cables. I think they feel great. They make me feel great when I'm wearing the headphone. I just don't. I think that the only way to know any of this for sure is to do a true blind listening test and pick, determine what it is about them that you like one over the other, and see if you can consistently do it. Like, because there's brain burning, there's all sorts of stuff that happens. So I think that there's a lot to take into consideration on it too. I just don't know. Logic tells me either you have a connection or you don't have a connection. You can have a bad connection, and in which case, yeah, you can degrade the sound because you're shorting somewhere. But I just don't know that, either the electrons are flowing or they're not. And that's kind of where my head is at on it. Speaking of interconnect cables, not speaker and headphone cables. I am guilty. I am guilty, clearly, of buying expensive shit that I probably don't need. I just don't know that to my senses, I don't know if I can hear a difference. But I respect anybody. Hey, if you can hear a difference and it's making a big difference in your life, by all means, go do what you want. Kimber is painfully expensive. Yes, it is. This was painfully expensive, and it was half off. So, yeah, it's really something. It's really something. Nephilim, Michael, you feel at any point you can get bored during the live chat, feel free to whip out the tubes. You got your tubes last week. We're not going back to the tubes this week. You can play that one over and replay and have to sit through the commercials and make 14 cents. Nephilim. Hey, cheers, everybody. Seriously. Glad you all are here. It's really fun. Great time. I love this hangout. This hangout's the best part of the week, let me tell you. Daniel Foster says, recording equipment, it's best to use flat power cables. Memo Jenkins says, Kimber is painfully expensive. We talked about that. Yeah, 16 braids in this baby. And it's all like, I don't know, it's like copper and silver and God knows what. And the only reason I even knew this cable is because one of the vendors had this thing at Headphone, and it was sitting out with the Meze Elite, and it was hooked up to one of these, the GSX Mark II, or maybe it was a GSX Mini, I don't remember, but one of the head amp solid state amps, and they had it sitting there on the, and I was like marveling at it, sitting there just marveling at this cable, going, this is a beautiful cable. I'm like, I would love to have one of these someday. And so then I saw one come up on Headphone and I bought it. Why? Because I'm stupid. We do stupid things, folks. Stupid things 101. But at least I bought used. That's the hill I'm dying on today. Okay, let's try and catch up a little bit here. I'm behind as usual. Sorry, guys. I try to keep it going, but I get sidetracked. Michael, does the Atrium win the Aesthetics Award for you? Is it the nicest looking headphone you feel you own, or does the Meze Elite win that? I would say it wins the Aesthetics Award. And the reason is the Meze is kind of machined. There's something really over-engineered about the Meze that's attractive, that's interesting. The Meze wins the Feel Award by far. I mean, there's nothing that sits like the Meze, and it's just bar none. It's amazing feel, and they've kept it light, and it's a perfect headphone in that regard. This is handcrafted. I mean, this is handcrafted. That was built on. There's machinery that cuts that stuff. This is handcrafted. There were artisans who polished this and who, made it. Oh, I can't do that. There's me getting all fancy. Somebody sprayed this down and then rubbed the middle away a little bit so that it has this smoke to copper thing, that just the copper kind of emerges from the smoke, and it gives it this look that's... I really wish this camera was focusing today. I don't know what's up with it. It's driving me absolutely bonkers. I'm gonna try one other thing, because it is driving me crazy. And that's focus mode, tracking spot. All right. Does that work? Did that bring it in? Nope. I wonder if there's something binding. Nope, nothing binding. Wow, that's just driving me crazy. Why won't it focus? Okay, well, I don't want to delay the whole show because of a stupid camera that's not focusing. But, and then, somebody polished this, and then they wore away a little bit of the finish toward the middle, which is why it's got this starburst effect. And then it's got this beautiful satin finish, and... now I'm working on pads. I've been doing a lot of pad swapping and taking notes on pads and trying to get in preparation for the sound check on that one. And I've been going through a lot of pads on it. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Boy, that's annoying. Don't you just hate it when something isn't working the way it should? Oh, drives me crazy. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I should power cycle it. Let's try that. Take that, Sony. Nope. Oh. Okay, enough of that. I'm not going to sit here and waste valuable airtime doing that. All right, back to the chat, as I've been keeping track of stuff, as I should. The Jade by Noble sounded great. Yeah. I mean, they don't do bad headphones. I mean, they do stuff that sounds better, and they do stuff that, maybe doesn't sound as good as whatever the other thing is that you're trying. But, yeah, they don't do bad. So you don't put on a Noble and go, not really good. It's just, maybe it's not your preference, but you got to admit that, they brought it. Whatever they were doing, they were bringing everything they could to whatever it is they're producing. Volkvanger, I can't even say it. Volkvanger is shit's new. That's the other problem with shit. You can't pronounce any of their stuff. And then you can't say shit on the air. No, I have not heard it, and I'm actually woefully underversed in any shit gear. I've never owned anything by shit, and I think because when shit was coming out with their top-of-the-line stuff, Cord was coming out with their top-of-the-line stuff, and I listened to one and listened to the other, and I preferred the Cord. So I never bought into shit's line of stuff. But they make great stuff, and they make great stuff that's affordable. That's the other thing, I need one. I need a hole in the head, folks. Okay, let's see, here comes Doris is away. How and when did the passion for audio equipment start? Well, I think I've been in audio equipment my whole life in some way or another. I mean, when did it start? Probably when I got the first stereo I ever had was a plastic Emerson from Service Merchandise. Remember Service Merchandise? They were like the Best Buy of yesteryear. Like, anybody remember that Service Merchandise? Comment in the chat if somebody give me some love on Service Merchandise. It's a big chain. It was a big chain. It wasn't quite Sears big, but it was a big electronics. They did electronics. You could also buy like jewelry there and a bunch of other stuff. It was just a retailer, you know, a box store. And they used to have stereos there, and I used to go there and lust over the stereos when I was just a young lad. And that was the Emerson. And then later I got the Panasonic. I got a Panasonic stereo. It was all-in-ones, you know, tuner, a receiver, record player on top, of course, because you got to have the record player. And then the best thing about the Panasonic was it had an 8-track player. Oh, yeah. So I had 8 tracks, you know. It had an 8-track deck in it. You know, that was the shit back then. And then I started getting into components as I got into high school. When I got into college, I started getting into components. So the Panasonic system sounded much better than anything I'd had before. I got into college and I bought a pair of did what every stupid young boy does. I bought a big pair of JBL speakers. The giant JBLs that were all bass and nothing else. I had to have them, and so I had the big JBLs, and I'm trying to remember what the system was back then. I think I had scraped together enough for a Yamaha at that point, and I had the Yamaha receiver and then the JBL speakers, and then I was also into movies, you know, heavy into movies. I was into visual stuff, so I had the VCR, I had a VHS player, and very few people had them back at the time. I scraped, but this is all stuff that I earned the second I could get a job when I was 16. I was out working because I was tired of being poor. So I can't, every dime I had went into my own car stereo, and, you know, whatever I could. I always had crap cars. My cars were shit growing up. My first car was a rusted out Datsun B210 hatchback. Look that one up. It was a car that was designed by somebody who'd never seen rust or hadn't seen salt on the streets before. And I lived in Chicago, and the salt just ate the body away. You literally could put your feet through the floor and treat it like Fred Flintstone if you wanted to. And that car fell apart, but I had a stereo in it, of course. And then when I was I think it's just one of those things. It just evolves. Once I got my own job, I started really upgrading, and I had better stuff, and I still kind of it was like Yamaha and Denon and stuff for the receiver, but I started getting into better stuff, and I got into Vandersteens and, you know, that kind of stuff, and I didn't have a VPI, an expensive turntable. I think I just had, you know, whatever Technics, DJ type turntable back then. And eventually I upgrade, you just upgrade over the years. So the point is that from probably the age of 8 or 9, I've been into music and sound, and probably before that, I just didn't have the means at all to have anything. So yeah, I've always been into it. Always been into it. And I had crappy cassette decks, and then I had better cassette decks, and, you know, I did a whole episode on the different formats I've had as an adult. I think it was episode 2 in the Director's Garage series. We're up to next episode is going to be 111 episodes of this shit. Why do I do it? Okay, so that's really my passion, has been my whole life. I've always had it. My first album I bought was in 1977, and that was Boston's Boston, their first album. Fantastic album. It was the first thing. Cheers to Boston, all you Bostonians. And my first single, I had, and before that we all collected 45s. 45s were the rage. That was everybody had 45s, and I did too. I had tons of them. I still have them. I have a box of them. They're all scratchy and sound like hell, but it's kind of cool to still have them. And I've got stuff like Gary Wright, Dreamweaver, and ABBA, and Neil Sedaka, and Bee Gees, and God knows what else. I mean, I had everything back then. You know, anything any 99 cents. You know, most kids were buying Star Wars toys. I was buying singles. I was always going to the record store. Zaire was the big Midwest. Like it was like the Kmart of the Midwest back then. Of course, Kmart was there too. But we always bought 99-cent singles from Zaire, and I had everything. I had the Knack, and you know. Everything from this, all those 70s, anything that was on AM radio in the 70s, I tried to buy that with every ounce of allowance that I ever had. Always went to records and singles. So just love music, studied music. Got into, you know, once I started collecting albums, I wanted to know everything about every band, and I love music history. I loved the recording process. I wanted to know everything about the recording process. I took recording classes in college. I got to mix in a big, huge studio down in Paducah, Kentucky. So there's a town to find. Yeah, I went down there. We had to record and mix a country band, and I still have that mixtape somewhere of my final exam, and loved every second of that. We got to place the mics in the studio. We got to arrange where the sound baffling went, and we got to wire everything up and record it on 24 track and mix it down. It was way before digital. This would have been like 1986, maybe 87. So, you know, it's way before they even had the studio in a box, Macintoshes and stuff. This was all tape. And I loved every second of it. I loved all of it. And I still do. I still record here at home. I pull out the acoustic blankets, and I've got a little sound booth, and I recorded my wife's audiobook for her, and I have the mics to do it because I just have collected mics over the years, as you know. Got some great ones here, and just love everything about the process. That was a big rat hole. His first system decades ago was a Rega deck with a Rotel amp and Royd speakers. Yeah, it's great. All great old stuff. Fantastic. Grado got him into headphones. Yeah, headphones. My first headphone I bought as an adult, really, when I started getting into this part of the hobby, was the HD600. And I bought an HD600 and the Thieaudio WA6, and I started tube rolling on the WA6, and then I bought the HD800 because I found one on sale or used or something. I don't remember. And I bought that, and the WA6 wouldn't drive it. Big dumb guy. Audiophile, he got black too, Adam. So this is all the Volkvanger. Oh God, somebody help them. Why do they name their stuff that way? Let us know how it sounds. Okay, we're talking about the Volkvanger. Wow, I got a lot to catch up on. Nephilim, guys, he's obsessed with tubes. He's getting his WA22. So what the heck? He dreams of Takatsuki. Yes, and I have the Takatsukis that are not even being used right now. The 300Bs, anyway. Triodo, there it is. Goodness, Manuel Jenkins, goodness. He hopes there's time for reviews to go out before they are out of units. Yeah, it's always good to see reviews before people run out of the stuff that you want to buy. Going to be running all Philips Harleen pinched waist 1950s 1287s. With adapters in every slot. Don't forget to get your tube dampers. I mean, you know, you got to have the tube dampers, guys. They keep the tubes from ringing because tubes are made of glass. Glass can resonate. That's all I'm saying. ML Jenkins says, it's an illness that I keep holding on to its used argument. My wife sees past it in my bank account somehow. Wonder Vision or something. Yeah. But I still do it. I mean, like, because you can... I admittedly I fell off the wagon with the Atrium, but there are deals out there. You can get good deals, and you know, I still want the LCD4. And why would I buy a $4,500 LCD4 when I could buy the LCD4 for $2,000? And it's just somebody has already worn it. I don't care. You know, it's not like people have cooties. Nothing I can't rub off or replace. I have had some headphones come in that were so tattered. I think it was the HD820. I bought that used, and when it came in, the pads on the ears were not in good shape, shall we say. It was like this with the with what was the other one that I had? The one that I gave away, the Stellia from Focal, and the ear pads were just shot on it, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna keep using them. So I bought from Sennheiser. Sennheiser sells the ear pads for the 820, so I bought a new set of those, and then on the Focal, I have tons of Focal head pads around here from having the Utopia, and they all fit. They all exchange, so you know, all works out. It's great, but yeah, that's the only thing. Like the used thing, it's just that sometimes the ear pads are a little worn. Most of the time, though, guys at this level, when you have stuff that's this expensive, guys take care of it. But you know, they're not just thrashing it around. It's sitting like my stuff over on a shelf, you know, with the spotlight on them, and like, there's my, what is it? The 1266 from Abyss. Here's the Susvara. You know, it's like you want it on display. Nephilim 81, the AL Audio Reference 16 cable is one that he has. So he'd like to know how I feel about Axios. What a build, man. Yeah, I mean, they charge a fortune for it, so they better deliver something. I don't think the metal costs that much. Even like silver, it's not going to cost that much. These are, I mean, look it up. It's like, what, $3,000? $3,000 almost? Something like that? Jeez. Say that with, I don't even want to say the words out loud. I mean, I'm just glad that I got them at such a discount, but I was like, poof. And I have paid full price for a cable. I was one cable I have here. Oh, you're gonna make me go into this thing here. Let's do. I can't do it. Hang on. And again, sorry about the camera not focusing. I'm gonna have to investigate, and find out what's going on with that thing. But here's a cable. Look at this. This is from Effect Audio. This is a $99 case, but I thought it was really cool because you can kind of display stuff. It's kind of cool. But at any rate, this is for my very special Noble Audio Sultans. Look at those. Whoops, I can't see it. How about if I put it on camera? Yeah, this is the Noble Audio Sultans. This is the Purple Pine Cone edition. But look at this cable. I mean, this is from Effect Audio. Oh, it focused. Hey, it woke up. Fabulous, guys. Thank you, Sony, for coming to the party today. Yeah, this is gorgeous, and this is all palladium coated silver. Again, it's an 8-weave down to a 4-weave with a hand stitched leather thing, you know. So look, I guess we're going to call this the cable episode because we're talking a lot about cables today. But this is palladium coated silver. It's like, oh, it's, you know, it's pretty. It's just stunning stuff. But is it worth it? I don't know. It's cool. Feels great. This is the best feeling cable I own, for sure. By far the best feeling cable I own. I mean, it's just, it feels like, you know, feels rich. It feels expensive. Do this. Whereas this has kind of got more stiff going on to it, but this is softer. It's a nice soft braid. Anyway, silliness all. JTB in the house. Welcome, JTB. I'm gonna give you a little toast here. So glad to see you guys here today. Thank you for stopping by. We're up to, got a whole bunch of viewers today. Streams growing, channels growing, everything's good. Thank you guys for stopping by. Yeah, the builds on the Axios, it better be. The Verum 1 headphone factory is back in business. No, Battlefield has moved. Oh, now that the Battlefield has moved away from their area in the Ukraine. Well, that's a whole other thing. ZMF pays someone to blow smoke on their headphones. Like fairy dust or something. Doris is away, says sometimes he thinks audiophilia is 30% listening and 30% collecting nice expensive stuff. I like that. And then 40% talking about it. Yeah, I would say that's not so far from the truth. Actually, you know, given that I mean, my biggest complaint is I don't get enough time to listen to this stuff, and I have to focus to get these episodes out. And you know, if I've got a topic, I research it. I mean, I actually spend hours listening and writing down ideas and comparing tracks and going back and forth on stuff. And you know, and the only way to do it is just spend time doing it and then translate it into something that you guys might want to see, hopefully. And that's how I do the shows. But yeah, I wish I had more listening time to just listen and enjoy stuff. I don't always. It depends. It's nice when I get good gear in, because then the listening is part of the fun. You know, it's like, so I'm doing it for the show, but I'm also doing it for me at the same time. That's kind of great when those two purposes cross. And it's been that way with the Atrium for sure. It's just been enjoyable to swap amps and how does this sound, and what if I do this and put this pad on and, you know, turn this, you know, change this setting on the amp and whatever. It's always fun. No word on my car yet. So, and for those of you just tuning in, happy Wednesday. We're at the 1 hour mark. I just wanted to warn everybody that this show could end prematurely or on time. It's looking more and more like it's on time, but my car's in the shop and it's down the street and I have to go walk down and pick it up when it's done. I'm getting some new brakes put on. The director is going on a little mini vacation. We're going on a driving trip. Gonna just, you know, I'll pack some headphones and we're going to go off and stay in hotels and see some of the country just for a good time. And I wanted to put some new brakes on the car to do it. So, and the guys are putting performance brakes on my car. The guy found some nice bigger rotors for extra stopping power, because the family truckster has a problem stopping sometimes. It's like, it's nice to have a little advance notice, you know, that thing's not moving, because sometimes if you got to stop fast, the car doesn't like to do that too often. So cheers, everyone. I will remind you that we have a partnership at this point in time. I do this once a show. We have a partnership going on with audio46.com. If you go over to Audio 46, the guys over there, they're good friends of mine, and the best folks in the business. And if you're interested in buying something, if you put the coupon code Director's Garage in at checkout, all one word, you will get an extra 5% off most of the stuff that Audio 46 carries. And I think that's really cool. That's something they're doing for Director's Garage viewers. And at the same time, it kicks a little bit back to us, which is nice because, you know, I don't make anything off this show. So yeah, feel free to go over there, take advantage of that, and say hi to Tony. Tony's a great, you know, there's just great guys over there, and they ship fast and free and all of that stuff. I also have a deal with Linsol. There's an affiliate link below this video in those comments section, or before the comments section. And you can click on that. You don't get any money back from that, but it does also support the show. And then Amazon, anything down in the, if you use any of the links below to go to Amazon, and if you got to buy something, it will kick something back to the show, and you're supporting the show. And if you're gonna go buy toothpaste or something off Amazon, I don't know what you guys buy, it will actually give the show a little bit of a percentage of whatever it is you buy. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just something Amazon doles out as a thank you for you getting over there through my link. And those are the only ways I make money on this show, and then AdSense. But as you know, AdSense, unless you have 150,000 subscribers, you're not going to make a living off of YouTube. So, and we're a little far from that. So those are the revenue streams on the show. I don't do memberships. I don't do anything like that. It's just I do the show for fun and kicks and YouTube clicks, and I want to create a community. And then I do giveaways and stuff just to kind of pay it back to you guys. Someday it may make money, and that would be kind of cool. Be nice if by the time I retire, we have enough viewers to go ahead and do that and just live off the show. That's the dream, guys. It'll never happen. Okay, so that's my little pitch. I do it once a show, and now back to the magic. Sean Mills likes small speakers. You know what I like? This small speaker thing. I want to figure out a way to do this, and that's I want a pair of LS50s in here. Do you guys know what the LS50 is? It's from KEF, if you prefer, and they're the best near-field speakers ever made, and they're about $1,500, and they sound amazing. And I've actually heard them amped with the $40,000 Dan DiAgostino Momentum amplifier, and they were spectacular. It was a spectacular setup. I'm like, for just small speakers, woo, I'd love to get a pair of those. I want the LS50s. I'd like to put them on a stand like across the room or something. That would be kind of fun. That was just email. That was not my mechanic calling. Damn it. Okay. Michael, if you wind up getting an LCD4, he'll loan me his 4Z to compare it. Yeah, thanks, Sean. That would be kind of cool. I'm definitely interested in getting a 4. I want an OG 4 because everybody says get the OG 4, and I'm like, okay, believe other people. Why not? I'm a fool. But yeah, it's something that I want. I think that headphone is going to be right where I want to be in terms of bass response. I love a good bass, man. I love a good bass. What I love about the Elite has great bass. So does the Abyss 1266. It just took me forever to find a combination that could make that headphone sing. And I think that the Susvara is the same way. You just got to find the amp for it. And I haven't found... I found good amps for the Susvara, stuff that makes you go, oh, that's nice, but I haven't heard anything that makes you, like, your eyes pop out of your head. And I think that there's an amp out there that will do that. I just haven't found it yet. So that's a work in progress, and that's going to take kilobucks to do. So, and I've got other things I want to buy before another amp. I've got, in the last 6 months, I've bought 3 or 4 amps. I'm like, that's a lot of amps. So I just want to kind of cool it on the amps and get back into buying headphones because, that's where the fun is. Adam Cardos used to work at Service Merchandise. Well, you're a man after my heart. It was horrible. Sorry. But you remember the place at least. That's great. That means that I'm not so old that my brain doesn't remember this stuff. But yeah, they had an Emerson stereo, it was an all-in-one, and then 2 satellites plastic speakers. I'm sure it sounded like death, but I remembered it as beautiful. my young ears thought that they just sang. It's awesome. Folkvanger would be a very popular on cold locations like Alaska, where it will heat the house or igloo. Oh, it's a very warm amp is what you're saying. Runs a little hot. Victor Ennis says he remembers Service Merchandise, also Gemco. Yeah, there's another one. Gemco was more out east, was it not? I think it was. But yeah, there was another one. Victor Ennis says, thanks, Sean, for the response. Appreciate you. All right. Very good. Love to see people getting along. Blue makes great microphones. He's thinking of their Ella headphones, buying their Ella headphones and a 50 millimeter by 50 millimeter closed back planar, self-powered and portable. It's pro gear though. Yeah. I'm hot. There's some blue mics that I like, and then there are some blue mics that I look. I have. It's over there. I have that Yeti from a couple years ago. I don't like it. I don't think it sounds very good. I think it's a cool looking mic and it kind of serves a purpose, but there's better out there. And I mean, for like USB stuff, that was kind of what the original blue mic was going for. They also have, there's some good studio mics that are pretty good. I use this. You see this? This is a Rode NT1. This is a USB mic. It's also on a boom, but it's just, this is a USB boom. This is an XLR boom. And I use this because I don't want to turn on to record some tracks for work. I don't want to turn on a preamp and a digitizer. This goes right into the computer and it sounds pretty good. Like this is a pretty damn good sounding USB mic. It's very impressive, and so I keep that around. Also, because everything's all integrated here, I use Apple stuff, unfortunately, because it's so expensive. But I use Apple stuff, so when the phone rings, I can use the USB microphone to answer the phone, and the speakers, my Genelex will play the other side of the phone call out, and I can actually take a phone call from my desk if I can't find my phone, which is all the time lately because I'm getting old. Boston and Van Halen have the best debut albums. Yeah, there are some great. Those are two of the great ones. There's no question about that. Yeah, Boston was up there. The Doors' first album was up there for sure. There was like a category, I think. Do you guys know, what was that? What's that forum? Steve Hoffman forums. You guys familiar with Steve Hoffman forums? That's a great like engineers forum. If you're into music and you're into recorded music, Steve Hoffman forums are the head-fi of recordings. If you're looking for stuff to listen to, or you're trying to find out like what the best music for something is, join Steve Hoffman forum. Steve Hoffman is a mastering engineer. Sort of like I talk all the time about masterings and some of the legendary mastering, you know, like the guy from Apple who did their masterings, and I'm drawing a total blank now, but anyway, he's a mastering engineer, and he actually works with Sterling Sound, I think, sometimes, and he works with Acoustic Sounds and does some masterings for them. Hoffman is like, he's the real shit. I mean, the guy's like one of the best mastering engineers in the business right now. He runs a forum, and I think it's stevehoffman.tv is what it is. But go on there, because if you're interested at all in high end and great music, there's jazz forums over there. Everything. That's a great place to get your music history on, and get your, you know, like what albums, what pressings of what albums are the ones to go for. You know, they talk all about that kind of stuff over there. Just a tip from your resident idiot. And I was a member. I was into that for a long time, and I kind of, you know, I only have so many hours in the day, and so. I haven't been on that one in a while, but it's a great community over there too. Just like Headfi, just for music. JTB, okay, so we talked about that. First albums he bought were Kate Bush, Hounds, and Hounds of Love, and Talking Heads, Little Creatures. So you're a youngin'. You're a youngin'. Of course, there's somebody in here that goes, I remember buying Buddy Holly's first record, 1956. 57, I guess it was. Okay. Nephilim, Dan Foster, he doesn't recommend buying headphones from Blue Mike. Their headphone department is really bad. I've never owned a Blue headphone. I've owned 2 Blue mics. Yes, I've owned 2 Blue mics. I owned the the Yeti, and I've owned the Raspberry. And the Raspberry was their little $200 sort of answer to a portable mic that you could take around, plug into your iPhone. That microphone had the worst microphonics I've ever heard. You could not, you literally had to kind of like treat it was like it was inside of an isolated case or something. You couldn't get anywhere near the mic, couldn't touch the cable on the USB cable coming off the mic. You couldn't even forget about getting anywhere near the housing. Any little disturbance, if you just touched the desk, something in the frame would just pick up the resonance and run it right into the mic. It was absolutely unusable for the purposes that it was designed. So, you know, that's my thing. It's like, I don't have great experiences with Blue microphones. I have better experiences with Rode and Shure and, you know, some of these classic mics. Obviously, Neumann, I'm Neumann slut. I have a bunch of Neumann mics and Sennheiser. The 416 is a fantastic mic. I have one of those. So, oh wow, the same with, and Robert Langer just checking in with us, and I know I'm behind, guys. I know I'm behind in the chat. I'm terribly sorry. Same with him. HC600 Woo WA6 back in 2006. That's about the time that I went to Can Jam before it was Can Jam in San Diego in 2006. I was blown away with Woo and what they were doing. And I don't know if it was 2006 for me. It might have been a little bit later, but for me, it was, I went to Can Jam, what was at that point the audio show, which was the Can Jam before Can Jam, and THE, and it stood for the high-end THE audio show, and they had a headphone component to it, and that was kind of my first like entry into the world of hi-fi headphones, and super enjoyed it. I mean, I just ate the stuff up, and that was where I heard some of these amazing other rigs. But I always going to, there's some great audio shops around LA too. It's a great place in Santa Monica if you get a chance to go there. Trying to remember the name of it. I'm drawing a blank on it, but there's a great place in Santa Monica. Go up there and they sell everything there, and they'll audition music for you there too on good systems. It's pretty cool. The guys are really nice. Folkvanger, mythical name for those chasing mythical sound. Why must you name your stuff something that's that you can't pronounce? Hypsos. Why do it? I want to smack these folks. Sean Mills says, Nephilim81, any reason you're going WA2 over something like the Felix? He's tube curious. All right, if you're all right, talk to me now. All right, listen to me now. If you are tube curious, run. Run, people. Don't go near the second you walk down that tube path, it's a path of doom. Early Eddie Van Hins, Victor, and it's, I warned you. Now I warn you, if you can't say I didn't warn you, folks. Tubes will eat your soul. Okay, so back to true. I say it because it's funny. I say it because it's true. Early Van Halen albums switched. Eddie Van Halen albums is why he switched from playing drums to guitar. Eddie changed my universe when I heard his albums, and I'm with you on the Van Halen debut. Yeah, well, I mean, he was the first guitar god of my generation. Guitar gods existed, all throughout the 20th century. Charlie Christian was a guitar god to people, and so was Muddy Waters and Robert Johnson, and then Buddy Holly was somebody who people were revering, and Les Paul and all these guys, and you work your way up to Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix, and then of course Jimmy Page. He was a guitar god. You know, he was one of the greatest. And it reminds me of a story. You know, Page was a sloppy guitarist, but he had such melodic sensibilities. Unbelievable. Like if you actually listen and break down Page's solos on some of the Zeppelin albums, it's like they're not perfectly clean, but they didn't go back and fix anything. It was like he just played what he felt, and it worked so well with what they were doing. It didn't matter if every note was absolutely perfect on the fret. The guy knew what he was. He knew how to create emotion. That's what he did. But Eddie and Randy Rhoads were the two that, like, in my lifetime, like that was when I was becoming a teenager and was, you know, discovering harder music, and this is even before I fell into new wave and really fell in love with new wave and that whole, you know, post-punk era, late punk era, you know, all of it. I liked so much in the 80s when I started really getting into music and radio and things and doing my own radio show and stuff. But Eddie Van Halen and to me Eddie Van Halen and then Randy Rhoads on his tail. Eddie was, you know, he was a groundbreaking force. And I did a whole show after he passed away because it was like it was such a core part of my youth, that just Van Halen in general. But Randy Rhoads almost took what Eddie did and took it to another level. And again, it was the melodic sensibility of these guys. I never got into like Yngwie Malmsteen, who was a technically fantastic guitar player, but he had nowhere near the melodic sensibilities of Randy Rhoads and of Eddie Van Halen. Eddie could do Eruption and then listen to Dance the Night Away and how sweet that tone was and how he could lay it back a little bit, and he could play it, he could find the groove and create like a nostalgic emotion with his guitar, with the tone, and then adding pitch harmonics and harmonics to the sound. Like, dude could just bring it on guitar. He was an absolute master. Yeah, I get chills just thinking about it when I think about what he had done, and one of the, you know, their breakout, you know, they obviously lost David Lee Roth after 1984, which I think was not the worst thing to happen, because 1984 to me was not as great as some of their early. It was more popular, but I don't think it was as good as some of their earlier work. Like, as far as like groundbreaking and really pushing a new direction, it was very synthy. It was more pop sounding. It was, you know, it's just more of a mainstream album than Van Halen 1, 2, or Diver Down, or, you know, any of the other stuff. Women and Children First. I mean, Fair Warning. These are great, you know, colossal albums. Pillars. And they did 5150 with Sammy Hagar, and that one was a pop chart domination too, but it was much harder album. And I think part of that was, you know, you brought in somebody who was also a really good guitar player. Not Eddie. He's not on Eddie's level, but he could play. But OU812 to me, which was an album that got panned, was one of the most melodic albums Van Halen ever did. And I always liked that record. Go back and listen to that sometime. Like, if you're late at night, check out OU812 and listen to some of the, you know, Finish What You Started, and just some great tracks on that record. Great tracks. And they're like, it's an evolution of songwriting that was just stellar for Eddie. I loved OU812, which was the bitchy answer to David Lee Roth's solo record, Eat 'Em and Smile. Remember Eat 'Em and Smile with Yankee Rose and all that? And then Van Halen came out with OU812, which was Eat 'Em and Smile, OU812. Anyway, that was the play between the bands, the fire between what happened when the band broke up. Okay, so I'm going to catch up on the stuff. It's 4:48. Nothing from my car yet. I'm hoping my car is done soon. I need brakes, guys. I need brakes. Some internal talk about some different amps. I'm going to bypass those because you guys are having a discussion among yourselves. And I love that, by the way. I'm not offended that you guys want to talk to, talk to each other about gear. That's fantastic. My dream is to someday do some sort of membership thing so that I could invent a... it's like I could do a membership and we could do this on Zoom. Wouldn't this be a great exchange on Zoom if we were all like in our places and we could like show, be able to go, hey, check out my new headphone and hold it up to each other. That to me was like, that's like one of the dreams down the road when I have more time. I just don't have time now. I mean, I'm having trouble just getting these episodes out, but yeah, that's one of the things I'd love to do. Daniel Foster loaned his F-150 truck to someone and they totaled it. Oh, shit. Oh, that hurts, man. I hope it was insured. Oh, that hurts. Oof. Hope they were a good friend and they were paying for it. Ouch. Daniel. Everybody, little cheers, a little drink for Daniel's pain. That's not good, man. Sadly, Audio 46 has shipping restrictions. Yeah, there's shipping restrictions on certain items based on what they are. I mean, and I don't think it's them. I think it's just the way customs works. I know Apple can't ship everywhere. They have to go through their local, some funky restrictions on stuff. I don't know. But yeah, maybe that's something. Can you get direct from Woo, though? That's the other question. Can you call, Jack's folks and there, and can they ship direct? I don't know. And I know that Audio 46 can't offer that discount on every item they own because not all the manufacturers play with them. Anyway. Daniel Foster says, my shows are fun, and much thanks and cheers. Well, cheers to you, Daniel. Again, I'm sorry about your F-150. That really blows. Best debut album, Alan Parsons Project. That was a good one. I don't know that it's my favorite, but hey, everybody likes different stuff, so cheers. If that's what gets you. That's what gets you going. Great. What about Led Zeppelin's first album, and second and third? And well, yeah, Zeppelin was amazing. Their first album. Like, if their second album was their first album, it may have been the greatest debut album of all time. I think that they were trying to prove themselves as a blues band, and the blues tracks sort of detract from what Zeppelin became. But I also love that almost every Zeppelin album sounded different. And that, like, listen to Zeppelin 3, and it's a different band. It's a different band. It's fantastic. That's why I love 3 so much. It was like this thing it was this alien beast that came out of another side of Page's brain. Unbelievable. Daniel Foster had the blue. He has the blue raspberry and doesn't like it. Yeah, it's the microphone that I would counter the blue raspberry with is the Apogee mic. Go get the Apogee mic if you're looking for something that's small and that sounds good. Now it has some microphonic problems too. But sonically, it's a much better mic. The Apogee mic. That's still not cheap. And again, if you can, the 2 mics that I use the most for voiceover work in the field is the AT2020 USB from Audio Technica. That is a rock solid, beat 'em up. You can beat the snot out of that microphone. Use it as a hammer, and it will sound perfect. It's just a rugged, durable, fantastic USB mic, and it sounds good. This one is not as durable, this Rode NT1, which is why it's on a fancy little swivelly thing, and it's not made as well as the other one, but it sounds better than the AT2020. So for like, and these are all like in the $100-$200 range. And this mic is way cheaper now. This one went on sale. You can get this for about $150, and I think this was a $300 microphone when it came out. So the USB version of the Rode NT, and I highly recommend it. It's a great sounding mic for a USB mic. Yeah. CanJam was called Headfest when he went in 2006. I don't believe I'd buy that. I don't remember. I just remember there was Thieaudio show. That was the first one that I saw, and that was where I got to play with my. What shocked me was it was. I don't have one here. My Estelle and Kern. Yeah, the Estelle and Kern player. It was my first the 100 and the 102. Oh, this is the Woo. I was trying to slip in my SP1000. It was the first experience I had with the Estelle and Kern players, and I was so blown away, and I couldn't believe one of the ones they had. It was like the 100, and then it was either the 200 or the 102 or something, or the 120 maybe. One of them had one DAC per side, one DAC that fed both channels, and the other one was a dual DAC model. And I remember listening to both, like one after the other, and I was shocked that the double DAC model sounded so much better. I was like, these guys know what they're doing. And the fit, I've never seen a player, like coming from the iPod world, I'd never seen a player that was built with that type of engineering tolerance. Like the feel of the knob and the way it pushed in, and there was something like it was over-engineered, and it was gorgeous. And I've always lusted after Estelle and Kern players because of it. Stephen Marsh, Stephen Hoffman, on those audio fidelity gold discs are awesome. Yeah, they're fantastic. They're fantastic. Recommends Rush's Presto, and for Rush also their what's it called? I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. They had a series of digital sets that they released, sectors. They're sectors. They had Sector 1, Sector 2, and Sector 3. Sector 2 is their middle years with moving pictures and Fly By Night and one other one, Permanent Waves. I think those three records are in Sector 2. Fantastic. I mean, like and they're mastered to the nines. Really good sounding recordings. Worst debut album by a great band artist: Dylan, Bowie, Radiohead. Had to think about that one. It's the worst recording. Fleetwood Mac, maybe? I mean, it was just a totally different band back then. It's before they got their lineup. Bowie was always playing with different people. You know, Dylan was on his own. I mean, Dylan wasn't his first record. What was his first record? Wasn't it Times They Are Changin'? I can't remember. I mean, they've got to look at the Dylan. If only there was a device that could tell us all these bands' catalogs. I'm not going to look it up today. We're getting late in the game, and I'm going to have to go bother those people about my car soon. Damn it. And want to button people coming in late. Well, we're running out of people too. People coming in late. The new episode will be out, I'm hoping, by Friday. If not, it'll be. I'm going as fast as I can on it. Had a busy week. BET Awards, a bunch of shoots. I've got a big shoot tomorrow. Some gender reveal thing. I don't know. It's an ET thing. They do. For all the cool shoots I do, there are a lot of shoots that are like, okay. Yeah, so just saying. Nephilim, his favorite Van Halen album is Fair Warning. Yeah, it's a good one. I like Fair Warning. Yeah, it's great. It's great. I like Women and Children First, too. Fantastic. Diver Down. I liked all of them. I thought I just wasn't as into 1984 for some reason. That just wasn't my That was, and it came out like, I think came out the exact same year as Springsteen released Born in the USA. So it was like the bands that I kind of came of age with really took a commercial turn all at once, and it was kind of unattractive from my perspective at that time. I was a little disappointed. I mean, I liked. There was, you know, and Jump got so much airplay on MTV. Like every time you turned it on, it was like, you know, David Lee Roth kicking his leg up. JTB, Yngwie Malmsteen is very repetitive, shredding scales half the time. But there's no, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're technically fantastic guitarists, and that to me is, that's just wonderful. But I need the lyricism to it. Like, there's got to be a romance. I mean, I hate to talk about it in those terms because it makes me sound soft, but I'm like, there's a romance to great guitar playing, and there's a romance to great guitarists. The great ones can make you feel like they can make you feel aggression if they want to, or they can make you feel sad if they want to. Like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan sounded so much like Hendrix, but he had his own way. It had a Southern Texas vibe to Hendrix's fuzzbox tone. It was his own, even though he was playing a lot of the same music that Hendrix played. He was such a big Hendrix fan, but he was doing his own thing with it. And that to me was, that's what makes great guitarists. It's like they sound like themselves, and they can really make you feel stuff. But for me, it was Randy Rhoads, and if you're like going into the heavy metal era, those were the two guitarists. Rhoads just died so young. It was such a shame. Plane crash. And he hated flying, and somebody convinced him to go up in a little Piper Cub airplane, and it crashed, hit a tree. Unbelievable. Okay, that's the Randy Rhoads story. I'll do that. I'll do a little mini bio on him someday. Zoom would be fun, absolutely. And so one of the things I want to do. He's with me. Shredders like Malmsteen never struck a chord with me like Rhoads. It's just Rhoads solos. They were goosebumps. Listen to those first two Ozzy records, especially the second one. The first one was shock and awe. Nobody had heard anything like Ozzy's first solo record, Blizzard of Oz. That was a shock and awe record. The second one was like the next step of that, and it was even a little more melodic. So Flying High Again, and like listen to that stuff. It's really like, it's so impressive, and it makes you just wonder what was still in the tank with that kid, because he was just a kid. Zeppelin 3 is arguably the best album. I think everybody has their favorites. I still think their masterpiece. Well, 4 will always be the favorite amongst maybe people who don't know their music well. I think Physical Graffiti was their best album. It was so diverse, and there were so many influences on that record, and it was so good, and it was double record that was so good. But I even like Presence. Like, I can go and get into Presence, and Presence is a technical masterpiece of unusual scales and time signatures and all of it was like somebody Jimmy was really on heroin or something at the time, but it was like an imagination, dream session. Presence was. It's a fantastic record. It's a ride, and it's a fantastic ride. My favorite was Physical Graffiti. 4, obviously fantastic. 2 was a landmark record. A lot of people say 2 is their best record. I can't argue with them. They were, but like the Beatles, it was like they did so little bad work. Like, I can think of the bad songs that they did. The Grunge. Okay, that was a pretty bad song. It was an ode to James Brown, and it was using the funk beat. So, okay, it was their take on but it was kind of fun in its own way. Hot Dog was kind of a throwaway song, but it still was good. Like, it's not like I can't listen to the song, you know what I mean? So there you go. Doris is away. He's off to bed. Thanks and good night. cheers to you. Doris is away. Thank you so much for coming by the Director's Garage, a Hump Day happy hour edition of the Director's Garage. JTB now has the Burson Conductor 3X GT. You know, JTB, the thing that I'm wondering about with that, because I have the Ferrum stack, and it's like, are they every time I ask somebody, it's like they're very close. They're very close in sound to each other. So I'm like, do I really want to put the money into that, or should I go up the ladder and save the money for something like the Bakun, which is really, that's the amp that everybody keeps turning to and saying, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. Of course, everybody's now saying the Miso, but I'm not going to have the money for that. That's too much. Not going to happen. So, but yeah, the Conductor, I love the look of it. I'm a Burson fan. I've been a Burson owner in the past. They make fantastic gear. Again, that machined thing. It's like the tolerance, all of the stuff was great. Drives the Susvara nicely. So does this Ferrum stack. I just don't think it's the best that the Susvara can sound. And you and I have talked about this. It's great. 1984 sucked. Well, I don't know that it's... Hot for Teacher was a pretty fun song. I mean, but it's, you know, it just wasn't... I didn't think it was at their best. It was just so commercial. Nephilim81 enjoying these chats. Grateful to tune in. Always glad to have you guys. And we can start wrapping this up. It's been a bit. I'll go through the last couple of chats here. And I can even start playing some outro music. Because, you know, we all got to get to the rest of our week at some point. There it is. So I'll just answer the last couple, and then we'll sign off for the day. But I want to thank you guys for stopping by the Director's Garage today. Tip your waiters and waitresses on the way out the door, and make sure you take some peanuts home. They're in the little bowl on the bar. So stupid. Commercial indeed. So Aerosmith comes to mind. Turned commercial. Yeah, well, they had a big breakup too before they went commercial. There were like a number of years. We'll talk about them in a future show. That's a really great one. That's a great story. I should do one of my little mini segments on them, because there's a story there, and it's a good story. They disappeared. They did the biggest album of their lives, and they disappeared for almost 10 years. I mean, that's a story. Who does that? Who does that? Okay. Never cared for Bruce Springsteen. I like the early stuff. I get it. JTB, I can see people who don't, you know, there are a lot of people who feel that way about Dave Matthews too. Bruce, I really like the early stuff though. And especially that, you know, like the early stuff. So much fun. For his money, SRV is the greatest guitarist to ever live. There's an argument to that. I would make a counter argument. I'm going to save that though for another day. Let's revisit that. Let's revisit it next week when we get together. Well, I'm not sure about next week yet because of the vacation thing. Director's going on vacation. It's for about a week or so. So, and I'm leaving on Saturday. So we'll see if I'm going to pull it together. If I'm back early enough, we'll do that. But thank you guys for stopping by. Always appreciate you guys. We're going to end the stream now, and I'm going to check on my car. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And I'm glad you guys stopped by. It's always fun. It's always a good time. So I'll see you guys. You know the rest. Before you know it. Next week we're talking tubes. Oh, where's I gotta find the old slate. There it is. It's not even doing it. So funny.